No, we will not be talking about divorce this evening. I have entitled my homily, Waiting for God. Our readings today are about what it takes to do a prophet's job, namely, to be alert and attentive. If your duty is to serve as a messenger of God, how can you do your job if you are unable to pick up God's messages? And how can you pick up God's messages if you are not attentive? Elijah had been told by an angel to climb the mountain of the Lord and to wait for God there. But you know, if Elijah had his way, I think he would rather just go to sleep and not wake up anymore. He was just not in any mood, even to eat or to drink, or to carry on with his journey. He reminds me very much of that later prophet, Jeremiah, who also reached that point in his prophetic life noong nagka-burnout siya because of the stressful things that he had to go through in his job as a prophet. Abay, gusto ba naman niyang mag-file ng resignation? But the angel kept pestering Elijah to wake up, to eat and to drink, and to carry on with his journey to Mount Horeb and to wait for God there. You know, I remember watching what I thought was the most absurd play that I had ever seen performed on stage. Yung play na yon was written by Samuel Beckett, and the title of the play was Waiting for Godot. There is nothing at all on the set but a tree without leaves. And under the tree, may dalawang mama. Ang pangalan ay Vladimir and Estragon, nicknamed Didi and Gogo, who are talking to each other and who are waiting for a person whose name was Godot. They are not even sure if they've ever met Godot before, nor if he would arrive at all. Well, Vladimir and Estragon meet three other characters while they're waiting under the tree. They meet a master whose name is Pozzo and his slave whose name was Lucky. The third character is a boy who tells them at first that Godot was coming, but his arrival would be delayed. But later in the second act of the play, the boy returns to tell them na hindi pala darating si Godot after all. I wonder if Samuel Beckett got his inspiration from today's first reading about Elijah and decided to change the plot by tailoring it to his philosophy of the absurd. He seems to be suggesting there is no point in waiting because wala namang darating after all. Well, Elijah's situation is actually the opposite. He is emerging from a state of meaninglessness to a renewed prophetic zeal by obeying the command of the angel. And while he is waiting for God, he experiences three dramatic events. Una, a strong wind. Pangalawa, an earthquake. At pangatlo, a big fire. But the author keeps saying, but the Lord was not in the wind, was not in the earthquake, was not in the fire. Well, how did he know? It could only mean that Elijah was already familiar with God's presence, with God's ways. from his previous experiences as a prophet. And we are told it was only when he heard a tiny whispering sound that he became sure that God was there already, waiting for God was there. The God he was waiting for was there already. And it was then that Elijah got the message. Like I said, kailangan alerto ka. It takes a lot of alertness to pick up God's messages. Well, ganito rin ang punto ni Jesus in today's gospel. Sometimes you're looking for God in your life and you fail to find God because you are looking at the wrong things. Instead of leading you to grace, sometimes your eyes can lead you to sin, he says. And this is a good reminder, especially in this day and age when people have less time to be still, less time to be quiet, less time to go into solitude, and less time for prayer. And often, even in solitude, you can get easily distracted by your cell phone. Not even the search engine of Google can make you find God if your eyes are misled by your heart and your mind. Minsan talagang kailangang mag-cut off or mag-distance, especially from those things that lead us astray. Well, this is the biggest challenge for all of us in this modern age of digital technology. We cannot pick up God's messages to us if we fail to focus and to discipline our minds, our hearts, our senses.